This video is brought to you by SRTI Park Studio, a whole new visual experience to promote your business.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Sharjah Research and Technology and Innovation Park presentation, your regional gateway for innovation and business growth. The Sharjah Research and Technology Park is a brainchild of the UAE leadership of enforcing the role of innovation and knowledge economy and developing the economy of this country and creating new opportunities for private sector, public sectors, and entrepreneurs. It's a reflection of the leadership strategy of innovation 2020-30 for the United Arab Emirates. We are delighted and lucky in Sharjah to have the ruler of Sharjah, His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al-Qasimi, as the chairman of the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. His Highness' commitment to education is massive. He invests not only monetary resources in developing the infrastructure of Sharjah when it comes to innovation and education, but his dedication is immense to developing the whole ecosystem of education and knowledge economy in Sharjah. We at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park focus on four main objectives. The first objective is to develop an innovation ecosystem, not only based on the infrastructure of building and the street, but also the mindset of people. We also aim at developing next generation scientists, entrepreneurs, and leaders that can support our drive toward innovation. Our third objective is to focus on catalyzing knowledge economy, investing in technology and science and entrepreneurs so that we can have an impact and create enterprises that support the economy of the country and the economy of Sharjah and make it more competitive. And last, our fourth objective is really to invest in the future. We at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park, we identify companies and we vet them and we invest in these companies and we scale them up. Our objective is to create enterprises that will create economic, sustainable business. We at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park focus on 6 main subjects. The first one is water technology. The second one, production design and architecture. A third one is mobility, logistics, and smart cities. Fourth one is healthcare and digitization. And fifth one is renewable energy. And last but not least, environmental technology and circular economy. These are the 6 areas we focus on. And these are the 6 areas that we believe our colleges, our private sector have a competitive edge to grow and develop. We believe in triple helix. We work with government, private sector, academia, and non-for-profit organization to develop our ecosystem of innovation. We have launched research activities with universities, and we're trying to commercialize this research. We also engage with government and implementing best practices when it comes to artificial intelligence, blockchains. We launch sandbox with ministries, and we work with businesses as well in developing and commercializing technologies that will make them more sustained and more competitive going forward. We pride ourselves at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park to be able to attract some of the leading technologies into our park, whether we're talking about 3D construction or additive manufacturing or agriculture technologies or photovoltaic R&D centers or transport and mobility technologies or mixed realities. We pride ourselves to be part of a 47,000 students ecosystem at 22 universities and education institutions and more than 2,000 PhD holders, all in the same place within the vicinity of the technology park. Since its inception, the Sharjah Research and Technology Park managed to attract global players, regional players, and local players. We pride ourselves to work with international companies like GE, like Intel and Nokia, for example. We work with GE on additive manufacturing. We work with Intel on solution related to educations and reskilling. And we work with Nokia, for example, on IoT labs and other things. We also have regional companies leading in additive manufacturing like Amensa. We have also mobile fueling companies like Kafu, and also we have companies in health like Nipta. We also have local startups that are thriving and really defining the way forward. Since an inception at SRTIP, we believed to have a global vision and regional mission. We believe in partnership, sustainable partnership. That's why we work with countries, with academic institutions, with science institutions, and with UN led organization as well. The objective is to develop sustainable partnership and a win-win situation for everyone. We developed the Sharjah Research and Technology Park based on best practices. And its start, we managed to benchmark Sharjah against 9 other cities around the world, from Boston to Marseille to Shenzhen to Bangalore to Hyderabad to Philadelphia. We looked at 6 main innovation criteria, like market and investment, inter-firm activity, knowledge and R&D, human skills, infrastructure. And we looked at these things and we benchmarked with other nations around us to see where Sharjah is vis-a-vis this nation and learn from these activities as we go on. Here are some examples of the bright technologies that we are developing here in Sharjah. We pride ourselves to have the largest or one of the largest transport and logistics innovation center in the world. We in Sharjah developing next generation technologies that will be promoted in this region and will become an integral part of the mobility solution in the Middle East. We also pride ourselves to have significant investment and technology development in hydroponics and aquaponics and agriculture technologies. We believe that the Middle East food security insists that we develop these type of technologies, and we work hand in hand with the private sectors, with entrepreneurs, and with academia to develop these technologies here. Third, we also developing a photovoltaic R&D center. Our main is to promote renewable diversity and bring new source of sustainable diversity to the energy mix when it comes here in the park. We pride ourselves to launch Energy Innovation Hub, a regional platform to engage and attract innovations into this region and link them to the industries of energy within the region. We also pride ourselves at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park to host one of the largest makerspace in the UAE, the Sharjah Open Innovation Lab. This lab dedicated to entrepreneurs, to faculties, to companies to come and co-create and co-innovate the future of technologies at the park. We develop and promote this soil lab by engaging with different players, whether you are an investor or a company or academia. They all come and co-create and create businesses and enterprise out of this lab, which features cutting-edge technologies in textile technologies, electronics, metal, 3D technologies, and others. For SRTIP, collaboration with academia is an integral part of our work. We work with universities in the UAE and around the world. For example, the American University of Sharjah is one of our key partners, and we work with them on three main areas. One around IP and commercialization, entrepreneurship and development of science, employment and internship, and also lab exchange. We believe to have an innovation, we have to develop human capital and develop a strong link to academia and academic institutions. Here, I would like to share with you some other examples of the innovation we have here. We've managed at SRTIP in collaboration with academia and industry to create a fantastic footprint, a regional lab for construction of 3D materials. So we have today printed many houses using 3D technologies and using collaboration with education as well. Another example of what we do is we develop IP, intellectual property, and commercialization of the IP, and the topic, for example, here is conductive concrete. Another example of R&D is we are developing an exoskeleton technology that can apply for healthcare sector and also apply for industry within construction as well. And we do this in collaboration with academia and in collaboration with the private sector as well. The Sharjah Research and Technology Park also thrives on developing an ecosystem. I have spoken about the Middle East Energy Innovation Hub. This is a platform to develop new innovation within the energy sector. To be able to conduct our work at SRTIP, we have developed a comprehensive ecosystem that includes events and themes like the Women in Technology, promoting circular economy, and launching various accelerators. Our flagship accelerator is the Sharjah Advanced Industry Accelerator. We pride ourselves to be a home for the Middle East North Africa Innovation Technology Transfer Summit. We would like to position Sharjah as a platform for technology innovation and technology transfer in the whole Middle East. And we work with scientists, with science institutions, academia, private sector to be able to do this. In addition to that, we run a series of events at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. These comprise webinars, exhibition, conferences that allow businesses and partners and tenants of SRTIP to engage and grow and develop their businesses and build up strong network with investors, businesses, academia, and government. We also launched the Sharjah Angel Investor. The main aim of this angel investor is to create funds and make funds available for startups to come and grow out of Sharjah. We also host many delegations, international delegations, throughout the year at the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. We host a lot of webinars, and we aim to do more of these webinars to cement relationship with countries, with industries, and with different players. Sharjah Research and Technology Park also have fantastic facilities for exhibition. We host many exhibitions and conferences at the park, and we aim to continue doing that going forward. This is a summary of the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. We look forward to working with you. We will look forward to partner with you and grow with you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for viewing the park's presentation. It's actually an honor to have a video of our CEO to present the park when we've been delivering on boring presentations. So we've been taking a bit of a technology edge on the presence that we put forward. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelist for today, Professor Bashar Al-Khassawneh, who is the Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering at Khalifa University. Very briefly, Professor Bashar is the founder and chair of the ASME Professional UAE section and an Associate Professor of the Mechanical Engineering Department at Khalifa University. He has served as the chair of the graduate program at the Mechanical Engineering Department from 2016 to 2019. And previously, between 2013 and 2016, he had served as the associate chair. Previously, he had acted as an academic advisor for the British University in Dubai to develop an accredited industrial engineering program. Between 2008 and 2010, he was a manager of the applied research programs at King Abdullah II Design and Development in Jordan. Between 2002 to 2008, he held an assistant professor position in industrial engineering department at the Jordan University of Science and Technology. And at the same time, he served as within the same time, he had served as the design and development pre-incubator at the university to train and qualify students to become entrepreneurs. Professor Bashar obtained his PhD in mechanical engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, USA in 1997. He is a member of the advisory board of the Innovation Lab at the Dubai Health Authority and a member of the editorial board of IJAIR. His current research is focused on developing new concepts of advanced machining centers based on parallel kinematics mechanism and machining in harsh environments by adapting to the environment geometry. He's also engaged in solutions to perform machining, welding tasks, and developing robotic platforms for 3D printing and structures. Thank you very much, Bashar, for giving us valuable time during the session. So a bit of a mix-up. I think we have Murad here from Farsoon Technologies. I guess this is one of the first world problems when you mention a specific time and don't mention the time zone. But thank you very much, Murad, for really squeezing in some time to come in during the session. Murad Muntasir is the Regional Services Manager for Farsoon Technologies. He has over 20 years experience of industrial automation systems within the aerospace, medical, and automotive industry. He has focused to integrate and implement additive manufacturing technology specifically. He has a solutions-oriented mindset, customer satisfaction manager, and he has a determination to a proactive attitude. Murad has been engaged in several international players that include Soitab and Prima Industry in Italy, GE Arcam AB in Sweden, 3 applications in France, and AnyShape in Belgium, of course, before taking on the responsibilities at Farsoon Technologies in Europe. So without further ado, I'd just like to give approximately 4 to 5 minutes to Professor Bashar to provide some initial thoughts before we move to Murad. And we're just getting some questions in the Q&A. So just after the introductions, we will get to the questions as well from the audience. Professor Bashar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Ismail, for hosting me on this very interesting topic. Actually, my area of research, as Mr. Ismail said, is related to robotics, related to basically robotics development for also 3D printing of structures or buildings. So it's a bit of more or less conflict of interest to talk about how this will challenge the job market, but also because of the social responsibility part, I also have some technical contributions in terms of applications related to things related to the region, in terms of innovation issues, manufacturing challenges issues, things of that sort. Back to the topic of the webinar, smart manufacturing entails basically using robotics, artificial intelligence, basically Internet of Things, automation in general, actually, to automate industrial and business processes. This will eliminate basically certain manual jobs or tasks, okay? So the social impact because of this automation will have certain aspects on the society. This led certain societies actually to develop like a minimum wage or minimum or universal basic income for certain communities in order to cushion the society against the impact of automation or automation and elimination of these jobs. 3D printing is a bit different, okay? So I cannot put them in the same basket because the way I see 3D printing, it will reduce, of course, the vertical integration of the supply chain of certain industries. So you'll have a distributed manufacturing plants, okay, instead of having the vertically integrated ones that we see right now. This is basically theory. In actuality, I see 3D printing to complement the current traditional manufacturing. We cannot compete with, or 3D printing cannot compete with basically mass production of basically the casting of engines, for example. It will not compete with the way we are producing the water bottles or the cap of the water bottles through blow molding or injection molding. However, it can complement that by developing tooling, for example. So instead of the injection mold to take a few months to produce, now I can basically produce by 3D metal printing certain inserts. So within maybe a couple of days, I can have a completely different design for my bottle or my water bottle cap. Okay, so I see it as a complementary part to the traditional manufacturing, not replacing it. Okay, so 3D printing will fill a space, new space, okay, that's not currently available by customization, by complementing traditional manufacturing. So I think it will create new jobs. However, the automation in terms of implementing artificial intelligence, where it will replace white collar jobs, for example, in certain areas, or robotics, using robotics in manufacturing plants, where it will reduce or eliminate certain blue collar jobs in some other markets. Putting all different countries in the same basket also is not fair, okay? The US has certain constraints where you have plenty of workforce in the market and they see robots as threat, okay? So they have studies in the US where for every 1,000 basically workforce, introducing a robot will eliminate like 3.3 jobs, okay? Also, it's associated with reduction of wages. Again, we are talking about the US market because again, you are competing with automated processes, so the wage rate will be reduced. However, if we look into different markets, for example, in aging societies such as Europe or certain countries in Europe or Japan, okay? So it's basically compensating for non-existing workforce that basically is not there. So it's not competing with humans. However, it's basically assisting the society in filling a gap. In UAE as well, okay, since UAE is importing the workforce, okay, so again, when we talk about robotics, it's placing important workforce. So I think in one sense, you can see that it has a positive impact that basically instead of having 9 million people in the country versus basically just 1 million of nationals, you can reduce the basically dependency on the important workforce. So it has a positive impact there. basically, this is how I see automation and robotics impacting the job market for now. Maybe we'll leave the other points to the discussion. Thank you. You are muted.
Thank you. Sorry for that. Thank you very much for your valuable insight, Professor Bashar. Some interesting points. I'm sure we will get to some questions, especially related to geographical job markets as well. I would like to pass the mic on to Murad, maybe to give us a few initial insights on the topic before we start to actually getting a few of these coming in. So I hope we can cover it in the remaining half an hour. But Murad, the floor is yours for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Ismail, for inviting me. And again, sorry for my late. We had some misunderstanding with timing, Europe time or whatever. But finally, we're here. Alhamdulillah, we can go ahead and we can be able to save some efforts. Yeah, I agree with Mr. Bashar as explained the vision about the additive. And of course, I'm especially in the latest year worldwide helping European and Chinese company and global company, let me say, additive so far is not in competition with any technology, as this is something new in the market and is offering new challenge for any aspect of the technology. Let me say another aspect we should consider, and this is something that always bring in any topic. As we know, additive today is still not mature. It's not, well, let me say it's ready, but it's not the final step of how should be 3D printing in the future. Take an example, I make it always crazy. Now everyone at home have a 2D printing, you print everything you want at home. And if you think even 10 years ago, there was black and white, now everyone have a color at home. Then the next step, check again, I want to see far optimistic in 5 years, 6 years, everyone at home will have a small 3D printing. And this is again, will be the challenge where we need to be faced. Dr. Bashar explained as a technology, I'm explaining also in academic way, because we need to make people ready. And this is what I realized most of the time. I spend more time to talk with the people to let them open mind, because it's our culture. When we face any change, we are always, scared, or some fears they bring us down to say, okay, may I need it, may this is what we're going. But of course, this is additive in the technology, save time, save money, even be in the environment. We try to be green as much we can. Let me say, sometimes it's not. Marketing make a lot of this good expert, but from other side, of course, we need to teach the people in academic way how to get approach to 3D printing to additive, because otherwise, again, is another technology with a useless potential. And I'm always thinking we should not focalize more about the machines, but about the knowledge, because of course, if we go good process, they will. I bring some topics from Bashar, people, they scared this can take off jobs, but think about how much potential we can have, because now we have some technology, some limitation in aspects, aerospace, medical, agriculture, whatever you want to see, we face a lot of limitations. Now, why we don't sit down and see all these limitations disappear? I'm convinced we can talk about millions of jobs that will be there ready to take off, because you see new potential, new technology help you to create new life there. And this can be happen in war country. I'm convinced, the next challenge as Europe, US, China, they already face it. It's bring a new country as Middle East, as Africa. Already India starts from a while in this aspect. Then all these countries where the technology gap was there from a while, now with 3D printing or with this new technology, they will reduce this gap and will let this country to really challenge themselves and get a lot of benefits. But as I said, we can keep here talking for hours, because this is what I like to challenge myself and also learn from others in how we can deal and how we can bring this topic. And especially, this is something I like on now today to mention. COVID really teach us really to be aware, we can change in any time, in anyhow. Then we should be ready. We should evaluate all these aspects. And another good point for 3D printing additive in this COVID, I just see good potential, because personally, I am working more and more after COVID. And you can see, because people, they realize that they want to cut new chain production. They want to be more effective in the market. And as I said, additive, they are helping a lot worldwide. Then yeah, let's see what the question they will bring us and what are the curiosity from the people, because that's another misunderstanding. People, they want to talk about additive, they always think about hobby, making just some gifts, some toys. But when they realize where the technology is already there in the market, because in some company they're already making rocket, in medical is already reality. I remember 70 or something % of the implants they're already making in 3D printing with new technology, and people, they are now working, running, or do a lot of activity thanks to 3D printing, because they reach new quality of life. But again, I don't want to spend too much time in this just introduction. Then Ismail, please feel free to handle and to let me know what are the questions from the guests.
Sure. Thank you very much, Murad, and an interesting insight from a 3D printing and additive manufacturing perspective. Since obviously we have Professor Bashar and yourself here, and both of you are so focused on the skills development aspect, what measures do you think we would need to take to support, from an education perspective, from a skills development perspective, for, as we like to say, smart future, or an industry 4.0 future? Because some of these technologies are picking up, and so I guess the other side of the coin is skills development, education, training, and so on. So what measures do you think we as a region in the Middle East, and you can say a bit of North Africa as well, that we need to take to support these measures and to equip the workforce of the future? I probably would start off with Professor Bashar, and we can move to Murad.
Yeah, very good question. Okay, I mean, always people talk about retraining and requalifying the workforce to adapt to the changes. Probably that's easier said than done. For the white collar professionals, probably they have the capability, they have the knowledge to seek sources to readjust, themselves to the new, basically de facto, the new technologies that are available. For the blue collar workforce, the low to medium skill labor, it's much more difficult. So it becomes maybe the government role to reorient the workforce in order to align their skills with whatever manufacturing abilities are there. So in one scenario, it's on the shoulder of the individual. On the other side, it's on the shoulder of the government to retrain and equip the workforce with the right skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bashar. Murad, if you'd like to add in some comments from your end, what can we do in terms of educating the future workforce, reskilling from the white collar workers to the on the ground hands-on workers?
Yeah, I want to mention, take example. This is 3D printing, as I saw it, or additive, or whatever we can call it. It will bring us to the new level. As I said, like example today, the iPhone or any smartphone, we have it. I would beat anyone how many of us they read in any manual or they get any training how to use it. And this will be the same with the blue collar, with this technology. At some point, it will get spread everywhere. As I said, everyone will have at home one of these tools or application, then we'll be used to it. But from other side, white collar, we need to have our academic to remove this limitation as a mindset and to teach us how to take advantage from this technology. It's like a very powerful technology, but today the academic, or we set up with some limitation. This, no, we can do it because it's impossible. We cannot. And people, they will always push you to find an alternative. Now remove this limitation and see how far you can go. Additive allows you in this aspect. Then the only limit is your mind. Sounds very good in marketing, but really when you start to use it, when you start to play, you can see how powerful it is. Then white collar, they should be the one lead the control to allow us to be free in design, to free in production, to free in material, and we can go on. And the blue collar, they will be easily to interface with the technology as they will be the end user soon. And this is, again, the powerful of this technology in the same time, because they will be the one, to interface, not one from front desk, but also the end desk. But I'm curious again to see, because compared with 10 years ago, not too much university introduced themselves, but today you can see worldwide there are some really big names. They have machines there, they have technology, they start to create new materials, create something different. And again, we need time because this need to be spread worldwide and touch any levels. But as you can see now, we're talking about it is already a good step. I'm taking 2-3 years. Even at school, elementary school, basic school, they will have something to do with the machine, and this will be automatic for them. They will need it. They will pretend it. As today's school, they use virtual schools. 10 years ago was impossible. Same for this technology. We are really improving daily and fast.
I just want to add to that point, actually. Yes, I mean, we are talking about only the 3D printing part of the smart manufacturing. When basically looking at the 3D printing, it becomes like one of the tools that are needed. For example, it becomes a necessity to teach our kids in school, in addition to language, science, or STEM. Okay, we have to teach them also CAD modeling, 3D printing to realize their ideas. And 3D printing, the beauty of it is it will democratize the entrepreneur's platform, so it becomes much easier to be entrepreneur to prove certain ideas. Okay. But in terms of how that will impact the job markets, yes, it will create number of jobs for these entrepreneurs who has the capability and have the idea. But the rest of the smart manufacturing components could jeopardize certain jobs. So that's kind of the bigger scheme of things.
Thank you very much, Murad and Professor Bashar. To sort of segmentize, I mean, I've got a question before I interject my own questions. There seems to be a common misconception between smart manufacturing and 3D printing. So we have a question that says that obviously, just 1 second, I just minimized it. One feeds into the other. I guess they mean 3D printing feeds into smart manufacturing. But how can we truly differentiate workforce development between smart manufacturing and 3D printing? If I can leave that to
yes. Yeah. 3D printing is only one component within the smart manufacturing umbrella. I mean, underneath it, as we said earlier, robotics, AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, even the blockchain, all these different buzzwords that you hear around. So 3D printing is feeding into that, part of that. So they are not competing, it's basically a component within. Okay, so from educational point of view, okay, it's a realization tool. It's basically one tool that one have to learn in order to improve his or her competitiveness in the market.
Yeah, this is true. As we said, when we talk about additive, it's a tools part of this smart. Another aspect no one mentioned smart is the network. You can design in US, print in China, and get the raw material from Africa, and so on, because all is now connected in global vision, in global needs. Another aspect, even if we want to see, we go in 3D printing. 3D printing is just very. To explain better, the machine by itself, it's very limitation point, because after you have the design, you have the CAD. Another aspect is the post-processing. Again, this is will improve or will ask to have more skills, more automations, and again, more technology involved. Another aspect is certification. And of course, if we look in aerospace, it's different if medical, it's different if, and again, it's different from US, different in China, different in Europe, because each government will think about medical. The FDA approval is not always the same in Japan, because there are already some experts, some different. And this is what I said, we should be aware smart is one topic, it's big umbrella, can bring different technology, different business. Additive is one tools, and even when we talk about additive, we should go more in details to understand where and even which academic, which school or which training we require to fit these needs. And back to Professor Pashad when he said, and this is a very helpful, as we'll ask from each side of our knowledge or each side of our region. Even we see globally, we'll have different capability as different task. I'm convinced again in China they will have very strong as in numbers as they, thanks to their background, that they will be able to provide the best and performance in manufacturing. But if we talk about IT, maybe India now will become one of the top mind in this technology. And if we not talk about the certification, maybe we should talk about Europe, because they have years of experience how to make products in good enough. And we need to put all these segments together, and finally we can have this smart working there.
Thank you very much, Murad. We have another question. It's a bit of doom and gloom. We have moved from manual assembly lines to automated. Should the labor force be resigned to losing some jobs to robots and machines? Professor Bashar, if you'd like to.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Again, as I indicated earlier, I mean, it depends on the market peculiarity. Okay, so in Europe, with shrinking societies, this is a necessity because they don't have enough workforce to fill the different positions. So robotics is solving a problem. Here in UAE, also we are importing the workforce from outside. So again, it will solve a problem. However, looking at the economics of basically introducing robotics and automation, it's not basically cheap. I mean, it comes with high bill. I mean, the infrastructure is quite costly. Given that the labor cost here is quite low, it becomes not justifiable economically, maybe to move to automation. However, from strategic point of view, maybe the government have to put certain incentives or regulations, okay, that will incentivize the manufacturer to move towards automation because of the bigger picture. This is at the micro level, but at the macro level, at the international level, I think, yes, I mean, there should be some kind of international task force addressing these issues, because again, eliminating these jobs will create hardships for certain communities. So there should be some subsidy program, because again, at the end of the day, to whom you are producing, you need customers, you need capable buyers who are able to basically buy whatever you are producing. So somehow you have to balance out between automation and the capability and financial capability of whoever you are producing for. Okay, so it's a delicate balance. You shouldn't look at it only in the micro scale, at the national scale. It should be looked at from the international point of view.
Thank you very much, Professor Bashar. Murad, you were nodding your head when I asked the question, so I'm sure you have some strong opinions.
No, as a question. Now we talk about the global economy. What about the global? As we know, the industry for years was struggling to find the workforce, as Professor Bashar mentioned, and now this seems workforce scared or complain to may lose the job, but and we need to be always able to have a very macro view to understand, even how this, let me say, immigration is moving, because we have these big nations where big city they have millions of people based on this workforce. But if we able now to restructure our industry based on this new technology as automation, as 3D printer or smart working, this will help people, will not force people to move. No one. As I said, in the Middle East, they have a lot of workers coming because they need a job, but why we don't bring job to their place? You will remove and you will save a lot of costs as human resources, a lot of time. And we need just, again, to bring this topic in an academic way. Don't create workers from the scholarship, but create human. And they will adapt themselves to the environment they will find after school or when they start their life. And it's very good question, but need always not focalize only what you're losing, but how much you're gaining. Because I don't think these workers, they will be happy to stay in production chain for 40 years just to screw or just to build some. This is, again, I like to be happy to say, okay, we save them time, we give them more freedom to understand what they want to and to have a good life. But of course, need to be balanced. I'm not illusionist or hypocritic to just remove from one side and don't compensate it.
Exactly. There should be an alternative, clear alternative.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be homeless, jobless. So we have to ensure that the alternative is clear.
Perfect. I guess that response has raised another question, a very simplistic one. What are the top jobs I can look at in smart manufacturing in the coming years? Professor Bashar.
What kind of jobs? I think anything from robotics, artificial intelligence, business analytics or data analytics, I mean, data mining on all these jobs that relates also because you have the Internet of Things, you have huge amounts of data. Making sense of that data becomes basically a job stream, okay? Because again, you would like to utilize that data correctly and make decisions based on that data. So you have big spectrum of jobs that you can work at or look at, but whatever you pick, you have to be passionate about and you have to focus on it. It doesn't matter what you pick, okay? The important thing is to be unique, okay? So any job can be a good job for you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bashar. Murad, if you'd like to add a few.
Yeah, I agree. I should start, do what you like, what you love. And this is again what I bring another topic. School should really start to change this system. Don't standardize, but make unique humans. And this is, again, let me say unique in a way to evaluate our skills, because everyone have this potential. And even in this manufacturing system 4.0, 5.0, or whatever we can call it, all we are profitable, all we can fit, even from the artistic one. Now, I like additive because it's my topic. The new designer, the new artist, they're willing to design new house and new jewelry stuff. Something was not able to do it in the past, but they give us freedom to be more artistic, more passionate. Until we go in aerospace, until we move another topic, then you can do whatever you want. Another good aspect I should suggest, never stop to learn. This is something in smart working, in additive, and technology. Really, we are moving forward very, very, very fast. And especially in global vision, what happened in US, you can see it immediately in China and get info in Dubai in half day. Then whatever you can pick or whatever you like to do, don't stop to learn, don't stop to improve yourself, to update yourself, software upgrade mindset. This is always to be, I like to say, to be, easygoing and open-minded. Then catch from whatever you see, update yourself, exhibition, they are good, seminar, they are great, school should be always open. And this is, I realize something, I'm happy to back to school now after the age and not when I was in school kids. And this is something I realize is very powerful, because when you're back, you are willing to give your imprints, but also you're going to say what I missed when I was young.
But also I would like to complement that with, some people ask, what will be the type of degrees in the future? Okay? I think
actually, that's our next question. Actually, that's just come up since you mentioned that, Professor Bashar. The question is, are we moving away from degrees and certification when we talk about these advanced career options? So I guess you're answering that question already. Yeah. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah, I think we still need the fundamentals. Okay. But right now, maybe we are over-stressing the fundamentals. For example, in mechanical engineering, you should have fluids, thermodynamics, machine design, materials, etc. Okay, maybe we have to compress these, instead of having 10 different courses on these, maybe 5 different courses, and we'll give the students basically maybe half the degree in order to explore their passion, their basically the trends in the market, given robotics, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, whatever basically the trend is. Okay, kind of map the new trends into the fundamentals. So kind of you are still having strong fundamentals, but you can still also follow the trends that are prevalent at that particular time. But we shouldn't basically overlook the degrees, because it's kind of the rubber stamp that you are qualified to contribute to. Okay, we didn't, I think, reach a stage where just a few workshops will be sufficient for you to get employed. Okay, I think formal degrees will still be with us for a while.
If I can answer, I will take it a little bit far. I'm a little bit always. When I was even in school, I was trying always to be the one thinking outside the box, and realize afterwards something not fit. It's just that I will take it far away. As at school they are teaching, they give you master, they give you whatever doctor, but in this always in the age, no one in the school steps teach you how to have an interview. Make practice how to succeed the interview, how to answer, how to approach, and think about this. Again, I said, we took it far away, apply in the real life. Then we should maybe compress some topics, maybe spend less time to talk about dinosaurs in early stage. I'm just making some joke, but allow me to say, today we should more focalize about what make us happy, what are our skills, what are our passion in what we're doing daily, because this should be something we should understand. Unfortunately, we follow the technology, but we don't control it, we don't manage. And this is a gap between reality and academic when we saw in the school system. Then my suggestion always, we should now more be focalized on what's going on in the technology, even in the future. Maybe, okay, if you want to be a doctor, surgery, of course, you need practice, you need training, you whatever. But in some technology, another expert, it's common to say Elon Musk is bringing people in the space, but he's not aerospace engineering. That he never met anything because he got just a vision and he was doing the best to succeed. This should be bring it for the common people somehow and to apply easily. It's not an easy job, but you can try.
Thanks very much, Professor Bashar and Murad. I'll just interject with one of my questions. Professor Bashar briefly talked about the costs implication. How much does cost actually factor in when we talk about these new technologies? On one side, when it comes to scaling the workforce, on the other side, when it actually comes to implementing, smart manufacturing technologies, so 3D printing, especially now that we've spent a year through COVID. What's your opinion on the fact of on the cost aspect?
I think for businesses, it's all about the bottom line. Okay? So cost is always the deciding factor. But basically the cost, it's not only how much it will cost me, because also there's a quality issue, there is basically a regulatory issue. For example, in food and beverage, maybe there should be minimal human interaction, so regulation will force people to take such decisions. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a costing is what forcing business leaders to take that option. It's not a luxury to move to robotics or to automation in general. Again, as I said earlier, in UAE, because of the low cost labor cost, maybe it should be a different motivation. It should be a regulation that will force manufacturer or business people to move towards automation. A couple of years back, actually, I saw a piece of news that Abu Dhabi government will award construction companies who uses prefabricated construction walls, for example, use this labor to give them basically certain point system, kind of in order to encourage them to use this labor. So kind of it's moving them or pushing them towards more automation. Okay, so you need some way to regulate and encourage manufacturers in this particular scenario, to encourage manufacturer to look into this as a viable option. It's not only cost.
Thank you very much, Professor Bashar.
Yeah, but I agree with Professor Bashar that when you introduce yourself to the technology, cost should be not the key role, because of course it's have certain cost in people, in human resource, in this case, in economically. I will always say, okay, how with cost, don't try to do it. And this is always when you go to see the pro contra 110%, the pro, they will really force you to go in this direction. And another aspect is also in new technology, especially in additive or in smart industry, is the advantage come by freedom to design, by freedom to use new material, but and they have no cost identification so far because no one tried it. And this is the advantage to say you can define yourself. Maybe I'm taking a little bit far from the reality, but at some point you will be the one to give this cost to this technology and to yourself or to this industry. Middle East, have the goal to be, the first hub in 3D printing. No one in no city or no government tried this before. And how will it cost? It's a huge cost. But when you will succeed, wow, this will bring you to another level when you can define yourself how much cost and what's the benefit coming from your side. We said maybe now cost 10, but in 20 years we'll give you 100, and the cost will be nothing. Then I'm allowed always to say, try to be the pioneer in what you are doing to let the cost not affect you or that be the key role on your next challenge.
Thank you very much, Murad. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. So just to quickly wrap up, if I could get some closing comments from both of you on what's your perception of an ideal future, say 10 years down the line, a technology plus people focused future. What your expectations be in the space of smart manufacturing, 3D printing? Ideally, where would you like us to be in the future? Man plus machine, so to speak. Professor Bashar.
Yeah, I think a human-centered technology. I mean, thinking while we are developing the technology, thinking about the human impact in every step and how that will impact the lifestyle, the income. Again, not only at the micro level. I think we should look across the borders in order to ensure that the welfare of the globe is healthy. Having a huge discrepancy in income between different countries, between the north and south, between without going into detail, but I mean, it will not let anyone feel at comfort because that will be the source of conflicts, the source of basically a lack of ability to procure or buy the things that we are producing in better off countries. So the important thing is to ensure that natural resources in different countries is being utilized fairly and people are compensated fairly. Okay, so you'll have basically free trade and healthy economic situation across the globe, inshallah.
Inshallah, thanks very much, Professor Bashar. Murad, any final comments?
Yeah, I agree. As you said, if you want to have a long vision, maybe less 10, 15 years, and this is what, this smart technology working or industry include the additive, they should be, bring the people to have this better life. And this better life can be, better job, better healthy, because today if we go to in any business or any sector of our life, we are wasting too much food, too much time, too much water, too much technology. This new smart working or smart life should be more focused to reduce this waste and be used to improve, as said, reduce the gap between, poor and rich, gap between who have a job and not have a job, and also allow you to be free to decide where you want to live, what you want to do, because life it's more safety, and safety people need to feel safety to take the best option for themselves, and also the country they will be also helped because they will not all focalize to limitate people in immigration, in cultural. Then from my side, I'm always optimistic to say, look, the future is coming. We need to grab it and to make it real for us. Globally thinking, we should also remove these borders or remove these even borders physically or also in technology. And today we need to admit Africa or Middle East are different level of technology compared with Europe, US or China. And in the future, I hope this will reduce this gap and bring people to be more flexible in these directions. But inshallah, we need to do it day by day. We cannot wake up tomorrow and everything that is one day.
Inshallah. Thanks very much. I really appreciate both Professor Bashar and Murad, your time. I guess we could go on for hours this topic, but we're limited for time. Once again, I would like to thank all the attendees for participating. We have a few questions, unfortunately, that we could not answer, but hopefully in the next session of the series we can get to it. Once again, thank you all for participating, and again, once again, Professor Bashar, Murad, thanks very much for taking time aside from your really busy schedules to be a part of this series. And yeah, look forward to speaking soon, inshallah. Thanks very much to all the attendees, and goodbye from the Sharjah Research and Technology Park.
Talk to you soon. Have a good day. Ciao.